Hey there, my name is Simon, and in this video I will walk you through how to use ClickUp. ClickUp is an all-in-one project management tool that's perfect for anyone looking to streamline their workflow, whether you're working solo or you're working as a larger team. It's all about making task management, collaboration, and tracking your projects as easy as possible, all from one platform. So in this ClickUp tutorial, we will start by learning how ClickUp works and how to set up your own workspace. You will also learn how to add and manage your tasks in your workspace and how to visualize those tasks for maximum efficiency. To get the most out of this video, I recommend to be active and follow along with everything I'm showing you, because by doing it yourself, it'll be a lot easier for you to become familiar with this tool. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so let's get started by setting up your ClickUp account. So the first step is to scroll down and click on the first link down below in the video description. This link will take you to the ClickUp sign up page where you can create your free account. So once you're on this page, click on this button, Get Started, it's free, and type in your email address and click next. Then type in your name and choose a password and click on Play with ClickUp. And now we want to go to our email inbox and get our verification code. Copy that and then paste that in here. And then we'll have to answer a few basic questions. And here we could already add our team members to this workspace. However, I recommend to keep it private for now. And then once everything is set up, then you can start adding your team members. And I'm going to show you how to do this at the end of this tutorial. So for now, we're just going to click on I'm done. Now we need to name our workspace. So if you're using ClickUp for your company, then you can just use your company's name, or if you're using it for a specific project, it could also be your project name. I'm just going to simply use my company name, which is Medics Media, and click on Finish. All right, so now we have created our ClickUp account and we've also created our first workspace. Now, before we start building out our workspace, I want to quickly look at the different ClickUp plans. So you can use ClickUp completely for free because they have a free forever plan. And this free plan will most likely be more than enough for most of you watching this video. On the free plan, you're going to have specific limits. For example, you can have a maximum of 5 spaces within one workspace. And if you want to go beyond those limits, that's when you're going to have to upgrade to one of the paid plans. But everything I'm going to show you in this video will be doable just on the free plan. If you need some more information about what's included within each of these plans, I'll leave a link to this page down below in the description. All right, so now we're back in the ClickUp workspace. And the first thing I want to cover is how your workspace is structured. This is also called the hierarchy. So here I have an illustration of how this hierarchy looks like. All the way at the top of the hierarchy, there's the workspace, which we have created before. In my case, this is just my company, Medics Media. And then at the second level, we have spaces. So these could be different departments in your company, for example, like a marketing department or a sales department. Then below the spaces, we have lists, and we can organize these lists into folders. So folders is not really a separate level of the hierarchy. It's more a way to organize your lists. And then within each lists, we can add tasks. And for each task, we can add a subtask and even a nested task. So it's really important that you understand how this hierarchy works so that you can build an organized workspace. And I'm going to leave a link to this illustration down below in the description so you can save it somewhere, and whenever you get confused, you can just go back to it and it should make things a lot clearer. Now, like I've mentioned, we have already created our workspace and we can see the name of our workspace all the way here at the top left. And as a ClickUp user, we are not limited to just having one workspace. Maybe you want to use ClickUp for your company or any type of project, and you also want to use it for your personal life. Well, in this case, we can create multiple workspaces. We can just click on our workspace name here and then we can click on New Workspace, and this will create a completely new workspace independent from the one we already have. So let's start building out our workspace. Now, by default, ClickUp has already added one space into our workspace, and it's this one right here called Team Space. And I want to start from complete scratch with an empty workspace. So I'm going to delete this one by clicking on the three dots, then on delete. And then here, to confirm that we want to delete this space, we're going to have to enter the name of this space. So I'm just going to copy and paste it from here and click on delete. Great. So now we have a complete workspace, and we can start by adding our first space. So to add a space, we're going to come over here and click on create space. And here we're going to have to give it a name. So I want to create a space for my marketing department. So I'm just going to name it marketing and click on next. Then we can also give it a description, but I'm going to skip this step. So I'm going to click on next. And here we can add a color for this space and maybe even an icon that would make sense. So maybe type in marketing. Okay, so there's nothing specific for marketing. So I'm just going to go with the M and maybe choose the orange color and then click on next. Here we can decide if we want to make this space public for all of the team members of the entire workspace, or we can also make it private and then manually add all of the team members that should have access to this space. Now, if you're the only one using this workspace, the choice doesn't really matter. But if you're going to be working with a team, it might make sense to just keep it private for now and then just add all of the people that should have access. In my case, everyone that is in the marketing department. So I'm going to keep it private for now and click on next. And here we can define different default statuses for our tasks within this space. So by default, we only have two statuses. We have to do for every task that we add, and then we have complete. And we can manually switch it from to do to complete for when we have completed our task. But we could also add more statuses. So for example, we can click on add status and then type in progress, hit enter, and we can also choose a color. And now we can add a task. It will have the status to do. And then once we start working on the task, it will go to in progress. And then we can switch it to complete once we're done. And here on the left side, we also have some templates that we could use. So under content, you can see we have a lot of active statuses here, but I actually like to define my statuses for each task list individually. So what I'm going to do here on the space level is just click on custom and then stick to these two statuses, to do and complete, and click on next. And here we can add some click apps for this space. I recommend to just keep the default settings for now, and later on you can always come back and add more apps. So let's just click on next. And here we can activate different default views for this space, but we're going to talk more about views and how to add them later in the video. So for now, we can just move on and click on review space. And here we get a summary. So if everything looks good, we can click on create space. And now we can see our first space here on the left side called marketing. And when we take another look at the ClickUp hierarchy, we can now see that we have our workspace called Medics Media in my case. And we also have our first space called marketing. And we can also see that we already have one list inside of our space, because whenever you create a new space, then one list will be already added, which is the third level in the hierarchy. Now we can change the name of this list or just delete it later on. But for now, I want to create a few more spaces. So I'm just going to click on create space once again, and then go through the exact same process. So now I've added a few more spaces for different departments of the company. So we have one for marketing, sales, product development, customer support, and events. Now, obviously, these are going to be different for your workspace. I'm just using them as an example here, but keep in mind that on the free plan, you're going to have a maximum of 5 spaces that you can add. And if you need more than that, you're going to have to upgrade to a paid plan. So I recommend to keep your spaces fairly general so that 5 are going to be enough for your workspace if you want to stay on the free plan. So now you know how to add spaces to your workspace. And from this point forward, we're just going to be working in one of our 5 spaces, which is the marketing space. So to keep things clear, I'm just going to collapse all of the other spaces just so we can see exactly where we are working in. And that's going to be in the marketing space right here. Now let's take a look at lists, which is the 3rd level in our hierarchy. And like I've mentioned, we already have one list in our marketing space. So a list is basically where you're going to be managing and keeping track of all of your tasks for a specific project. So for example, for the marketing department, we might want to add a list for each campaign that we're running. So the first thing I would do here is just click on the list and then change the name to that specific campaign. The easiest way is to just click on the current name right here at the top and then enter the name of the campaign. I like to give things numbers as well. So I'm going to just add 1 and then say Black Friday campaign. And now we could start adding tasks regarding this Black Friday campaign here into this list. Now we're going to be talking more about how to add and manage your tasks in lists later in the video. So for now, I just want to add a few more lists to this marketing space. So to add a new list, I'm going to go to the space I want to add it in, then click on the plus icon and then click on list. Then here we can name our list. So let's say we also have a new year campaign and click on create list. And then let's also add a 3rd one again, plus icon, list. Then let's say we have an Easter campaign as well, create list. So now we have one list for each of the campaigns we are currently working on. But let's say we also want to use a list for another project in the marketing department. Let's say we also want to use a task list for our blog posts that we're managing. So let's add this one as well by clicking on the plus icon again, list. And now we're just going to name this blog posts and click on create list. So now we have lists for our campaigns and we also have lists for blog posts. And there's probably going to be a lot more lists in the future once we keep building out this workspace. And you can see that it can become very unorganized very quickly if we just keep adding lists at the space level. And this is why we want to use folders to organize our lists. So when we take another look at the hierarchy, we can see that we can put multiple lists into one folder. So what I would want to do to organize my marketing space is I would want to add a folder called campaigns and then put all of the campaign task lists into that specific folder. So let's see how that works. To add a folder, we're going to go to the space we want to add this folder to and click on the plus icon. And from here, click on folder. Then we have to name our folder. So in my case, campaigns would make sense, and then click on create folder. Now we can see that folder right here in the marketing space, and we can see that it's a folder by looking at the icon next to the name of the folder, which is this icon here. And there's already one list inside of it by default, and we don't really need this one right now. So to delete it, we can just click on the 3 dots and then click on delete and confirm. And now we can add all of our campaign lists into our campaigns folder by just dragging and dropping it into the folder just like this. So now whenever we're not working on one of these campaigns, we can just close this folder by clicking on the drop down arrow, and that's going to make it a lot easier to keep a good overview of your workspace. To keep things as organized as possible, I recommend to use folders for all of your lists. So I would also want to create a folder for our blog posts list. So I can click on the plus icon again and click on folder, and then I'd probably create a folder for everything that has to do with our website. So I'm going to name this one website and click on create folder, and then I can just put the blog post list inside of the website folder. I probably also want to delete this list because I don't need it. And now just so we have a bit more content here in our workspace, I've added a few more folders to the marketing space. So now you know how to add lists to your space. space and how to organize them into folders. But there's two more things you can add to your space. You can add docs and you can add whiteboards. So let's look at them as well. And in fact, let's add a doc to one of our folders directly. Let's add it to the processes folder. So we're gonna hover over it here and click on the plus icon so we can add it into the folder. And then let's choose doc, and this will add a blank document to our folder. So let's say we want to create a document about our SOPs. So I'm going to name this one SOPs, and then we can basically just start with a blank page and just start writing something into this document. We can also add things like tables. We can add things like buttons, toggle lists. We can add checklists, columns. So you can do all kinds of things with this document, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go too much in detail for how to use these documents, but you can also add multiple pages to one of your documents. So we can click on add page here at the top left, and we can just build out an entire library of documents here. So maybe let's say this is going to be our campaign structure, where we just describe how we're going to structure our campaigns, and then all of our documents will be listed right here whenever we click on this SOP document that we have added to our processes folder. And then we can also add whiteboards. So let's also add a whiteboard to this processes folder by clicking on the plus icon and then choose whiteboard. Then they also have templates for different things you can do with your whiteboard. So maybe you want to create a flowchart or a brain writing map or a matrix. So you can use these templates to kind of already get a structure, or you can just start from scratch by clicking on this button. And here you're free to do whatever you want. So on the left side, you can add shapes. Maybe you want to add a circle here. You can draw things onto the whiteboard. You can add some text here and write something, or you can even add documents, websites, Google Docs, Google Sheets. So the things you can do with this whiteboard are virtually endless. So now you know all of the three things you can add to your space. We have a list, we have a document, and we have a whiteboard. And then we have these folders that we can use to organize all of these documents. And now we're going to look at the last level of our hierarchy, which is adding and managing tasks inside of our lists. So to add our first tasks, let's go to our campaigns folder and then go to the Black Friday campaign list. And here in the list, there's two ways how we can add tasks. The first one is to just click into the list and then we can name our task. So let's say the first task is define campaign timeline, and then we can just hit enter and the task will be saved in our list. Then we can also assign this new task to one of our team members by clicking on this icon below assignee, and currently there's only me in the team, so I can just assign this to me. And then we can also add a due date, so when does the task have to be completed, and let's say maybe we have to do this by Friday. And then here we can also give it a priority, so maybe let's say this is a normal priority. The second way to add a new task is by using this add task button at the top right. Here we can also just name this task. So let's say this is define campaign concept. And then we can also assign this task to one of our team members. In this case, there's just me. Then we can also add a due date. Maybe this is due next week, Friday. And then we can also have a priority. So maybe the priority here is also normal. And we can also add tags if you want to. And then once everything is done, we can click on create task. And this new task will be also visible here in our list. Now I've added a few more tasks. So we have a few more things on our list. And once you have completed one of your tasks, all you have to do is click on this gray circle icon. And once you do that, the task will be closed and it will disappear from your list. If you want to see all the tasks you have already closed, what you can do is just come up here to the filters and activate the show closed. And now you can see your completed tasks here in the list again. And I actually like to have all of my closed tasks tasks all the way at the bottom. So to change around the order here, what we can do is just click on this group icon and then just click on status, and this will reverse the order in which we can see our tasks. Now, for each of your tasks, you can also add subtasks. So let's say for this task, define campaign concept, there is multiple steps we need to complete. So what we can do here is click on the plus icon and then add a subtask for this task. So let's say we have step 1, and then maybe we have step 2, and we have step 3. So we have to complete all of these steps in order for us to complete this main task. And if we don't want to see each of the subtasks, we can just click on the drop down arrow here, so it collapses down and we can just see the main one. Now let's talk about the different statuses of our tasks, or different stages our tasks can be in. Currently, we only have 2 statuses. We have the to-do status, which all of our new tasks will be in. And then once we close the task, the status will be changed to the complete status. Now we can add more statuses for our tasks by clicking on the 3 dots right here. And then we can click on manage statuses. And here again, we can see our statuses to do and complete, but we can add more by clicking on custom, and then we already get one more status. So we have in progress. So now we have to do, in progress, complete, and we can add even more by either adding them manually, or we can also look at different templates which we have already seen when we have set up our space. So for example, for the marketing template, we have open, concept, in progress, running, and so on. Now I want to keep things a bit more simple, so I'm going to go back to custom, and then just as an example, let's add one more status. Let's say in review, and hit enter. Let's give it an orange color, and then let's click on save. And now we can go to one of our tasks. Let's say we want to go to request budget, and we want to change the status of this task by clicking on this circle. And now it doesn't automatically go to complete because we have more than 2 statuses. So we can now switch it from the to-do status to in progress, and then it will just change the status, and it will not be in the to-do list anymore. It will be in the in progress list right here. And when we make further progress with this task, we can again click on the circle, then maybe change it to in review. And then once it's complete, we can change it to complete. Now let's take a look at how to manage your columns in your lists and how to add custom fields. So currently we have these 3 default columns. We have assignee, we have due date, and we have the priority. We can manage these columns by clicking on the plus icon right here, and then to hide or show specific columns, we want to go to the show hide tab up here, and then we can see the fields that are currently shown. We have assignee, due date, and priority. So we can deselect them by just clicking on them here, or you can also add more columns, so more fields to be visible inside of our list. So maybe something we want to add is maybe something like linked docs. We can just click on it here, and then it will be visible in the show fields. And when we click out of it, we can see that right here. Now, currently we don't have any docs linked to any of these tasks, but if there are any docs, we can see them right here. Then we can also add custom fields, so columns that aren't existing currently in this list, by again clicking on the plus icon. And now we're going to stay here in the new column tab, and then we can take a look at all of the different custom fields we can add. We can add a drop down menu, we can add some text, we can add a date, progress bar, checkboxes, emails, files. So all kinds of things that make sense for our list. Now, as an example, maybe let's add a progress bar, and let's just name it progress and keep all of the default settings and click on add column. And then we can see in the last column, we have this progress bar. All the tasks that are in the to-do status, they are at 0%. The ones that are complete are obviously at 100%. And it can also be something in between. For example, for this task here, we have a couple of subtasks. So when we complete some of these subtasks, then the progress bar should actually increase to something like 33%, 66%, depending on how many subtasks we have done. Now let's take a look at a few different ways how we can look at our workspace using different types of views. So the default view that we are in right now is just a list view. And we can see that right here at the top that we are currently in the list view. So in this view, we just have all the tasks here in a list, and they're also separated into different statuses that we are using in this list. Now, another default view that we have is the board view, which we can switch to by clicking on board here at the top. And in the board view, we can basically see all of the different statuses of our tasks in different columns. So we have one column for the tasks in the to-do status, then we have the progress column, the in review, and then complete. And to change statuses for our tasks, all we have to do is just drag and drop that task from this column into the next one. And then again, once it's in the review stage, we can just drag it into this stage. Personally, I like to use this view for creating my YouTube videos. So I have a column for my ideas, then I have a column for preparing the content or script writing, then there's one for recording, for editing, uploading, and so on. Another view that can be very useful, especially if you're working with deadlines, is the calendar view. And we currently don't have that activated here for this list. So we need to add it by clicking on the plus view button. And then here we can find all kinds of different views. And here we have the calendar view. So let's click on it, and then we can just click on add calendar. And now we have also added the calendar view to this list, which we can see here. And for all the tasks that actually have a due date, we should be able to see it in here. So for example, the scheduled first meeting will be due tomorrow, February 29th. We can also go to the next month here, and then we can see a few more tasks here with a due date. We can also click on them and then add some comments to it or make any changes to this task. And to get back to the original list view, we can just close the task, and then here at the top, we can switch from calendar view to the original list view. Next, let's take a look at how to use filters to quickly find the tasks you're looking for. So this bar right here, these are the filters. You can also hide them by clicking on hide right here, and then you can show them again by clicking on filter. And we're just gonna go from left to right and look at some of the useful filters. So all the way here on the left, we have the group filter, which will determine how your tasks will be grouped. Currently, they're grouped by status, which we can see because we have the to-do group, we have the in review group, and the complete group. But we can also switch it around. So let's say we wanna group them by priority. We can just click on priority here, and then we have the most urgent tasks here at the top, then the high priority below, then normal, and all the way at the bottom are the not so important groups. And we can also use the assignee group, so we can see who is responsible for what tasks, or use any of the other groups. I'm going to just set it back to status for now. And again, if you want to reverse the order of the groups, you just come over here again and then click on this group again, and then it will just change the order of the group. So we have the complete status all the way at the bottom again. Then here on the second filter, we can basically expand all of these subtasks at the same time. When we click here, then for all the tasks that actually have subtasks, they will now be visible as well. And when we want to close them again with one click, we can just come over here again and click on collapse all, and then we can only see the main tasks. Then we're gonna move on to the third one here. This is basically the same button as the one we've already looked at, which is this one right here. Here we can basically control all of the custom fields and all of the columns for this list. Then here, the me mode is also very useful. So by activating this mode, you're just gonna see all the tasks where you are assigned. So if you just want to see all the tasks where you actually have to do something, then you can just activate the me mode. Then if you just want to see all of the tasks of a specific team member, you can just click on this button here, then choose your team member, and you're just going to see all of their tasks. And then we already looked at this one here. So if you want to have all of the completed tasks visible, you want to activate this. But if you just want to not see all of them, then you can just click on this X icon and the completed tasks will now not be visible anymore in your list. And then we also have a more advanced filter for very specific ones. So when we click on this one right here, then we can get really specific. So for example, let's say we want to filter all the tasks which are due in the next 7 days. We can choose due date here and say is, and then let's say next 7 days. And then we just get all the tasks which are due the next 7 days. And we could even add more filters on top of this one and add a new filter here. Maybe we also just want to see the ones that have the highest priority. So let's say priority is, let's say urgent. And then we're just left with one task. And to remove this filter again, all we have to do is click on the X right here, and then we're back to normal. Another very easy way to find a specific task is to use the search function. So you can just click on search or click directly into the search field here and then just type in a specific keyword that you remember of this task, and then it should come up right here. So now we've learned a lot about how to create and manage your workspace, and until now we've done everything manually. But one thing that is very cool with ClickUp is that you have access to a lot of templates for different parts of your workspace, and by using these templates you can save a lot of time because you don't have to build everything yourself. Let's say we want to use ClickUp for managing and keeping track of our blog posts. Maybe ClickUp already has a template for it. So to find out, let's head over to our website folder under the marketing space and click on the plus icon. And then let's click on from template. And this takes us to the template center where we can look for all kinds of different templates for our workspace. Now, because we have clicked on the plus icon next to the folder, the list filter is already applied. So here we can only see templates for adding a list, but you can actually import entire templates for entire spaces, folders, tasks, documents, and even whiteboards. But for now, let's stick to lists, and we're looking for a blog post process template. So maybe let's just type in blog and see what comes up. So here we have a blog database, we have a blog editorial calendar, we have a blog planner, social media blog. So I'm just going to try out this blog planner right here and click on use template. Then let's just name it blog planner, and the location is going to be the marketing space and the website folder. And let's just keep everything here as it is and click on use template. And now we have this new list called blog planner, which was imported from this template. And we already have some placeholder content in here. And we can see that these blog posts are sorted by type. So we have articles, how-to guides, video blogs, guest blogs, and so on. And here pinned at the top, we can also find a document called Getting Started Guide. And this guide will explain exactly how this list is structured and how we can use it for our own blog posts. Next, let's also take a look at how to use dashboards to easily visualize key metrics and data from your workspace. So let's scroll all the way up here on the left side and click on dashboards. Then let's create our first dashboard by clicking on new dashboard. And here we can start from scratch and add all of the dashboard cards manually, or we can use one of the templates. So the simple dashboard is also available on the free plan. And just to see what the dashboard can look like, I'm going to use this template right here. So let's click on simple dashboard. And then we want to choose the data we want to visualize on our dashboard. So maybe we want to create a dashboard for the entire marketing space, or maybe we just want to create a dashboard for a specific list. So maybe let's say we want to create a dashboard for the blog planner as a blog dashboard. So let's just choose this and click on apply. And now we are in the new dashboard we've just created. So here we have a lot of data about this list, how many unassigned tasks we have, how many tasks are in progress, how many are completed. We can also add charts like total tasks by assignee, open tasks, workload status, and all different kinds of information we want to visualize here. We can also add more by clicking on add cart and then see what kind of things they have available. Some of them are only only for paid plans, but there's also some that you can add with the free plan as well. So maybe we're gonna add something like workload by status, and maybe let's just add this card here, and this shows us kind of how many tasks are in what status. We can also increase or decrease the card size here just to customize the dashboard to whatever we want to see in it. And we can also get some more information just by clicking on different things on the card. So let's say we want to see all of the tasks which are currently in progress. We can just click on this blue bar right here and then immediately see all of the tasks which are in progress. We can also go to the in revision tasks here. We can also click on them and add comments, change things, and just do whatever you want with this task. So let's close this window again, this one also. And then let's go back to our dashboards, where we can see now we have our first dashboard created right here, which we should probably rename to something like blog post planner. Now, keep in mind that you're not limited to just one dashboard. So if you want to visualize different parts of your workspace, you can just create a separate dashboard for those things as well. And now the final thing we're going to take a look at is how to add team members to your workspace. So to add team members, we want to come over here to the name of your workspace, click on it, and then click on Manage Users. And here we can see that currently there's just one user, which is me, and we can invite people just simply by email. We can just enter their email right here. So let's just say 1234@gmail.com, and then we can also add a role for this new team member. So if we add this person as a member, then this person will have access to all of the spaces that are currently public in my workspace. We can also add people as guests, but the guests will not be able to have access to entire spaces. They have to be invited to specific folders, lists, or tasks. And then you can also add people as admin, and they just have all the rights that you can have in your entire workspace. So maybe let's just add a member and click on invite. And here, because all of my spaces are private, we can choose what space they should have access to. Let's say this is a marketing employee. So I'm going to just choose the marketing space and click on add to spaces. And now this person has received an email, and they can just click on it, create their ClickUp account, and then they automatically have access to my workspace or whatever I have given them access to. Now let's go back to our workspace and look at how we can make spaces public, because again, every team member of the workspace will have access to all of the spaces that are public. So maybe if you have a library of documents that are applicable to all of your team members, you want to make that space public. Let's, for example, say our events space should be public. We can just go to it, click on the three dots, then go to sharing and permissions. And here we can click on make public and close the window. And when we reload the page, we should be able to see that the log icon next to the space we've just made public has disappeared. Now let's also take a look at how to add guests to specific parts of the workspace. We can add them to lists, to folders, and to tasks. So let's say we're going to go to the marketing space and add a guest to one of our campaigns. Let's say this one right here. We just go to the three dots, go to sharing and permissions, then type in the email of the guest. So I'm just going to type in a random email and choose it here. And then I'm going to switch it from member to guest. And then here I can also define the access. So should they be able to have full access, just be able to edit things, comment on things, or maybe they just should be able to view things. So I'm going to keep it to full and then click on invite. And now this person has already received an email where they get a link and they get access to your ClickUp list that you have given them access to. I hope you found this video helpful to get started with ClickUp. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.